When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fan fiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos, updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. This is Fallout, The Rising Sun, Part 1, The Dangers of the Wasteland. After the group of the White Tigers and the 2 Vault Dwellers made it out of the feral ghoul-infested city and continue their way to the other side of the island where their speedboats are being kept in the pier area, but it's still quite far away from their current location. You know, sis, you could have always told me I had a nephew. It never came up in our messages between each other. It just slipped my mind. Yang placed his hand over his heart in a playful manner. You wound me, sister. Truly, you did. Rin rolled her eyes at her brother. Now I remember why you annoy me so much, brother. Let's continue. Let's continue moving. You're moving too slow. Yes, ma'am. As he gave his sister a mocking salute. But despite her cold expression, she had a slight smile on her face. Yang almost didn't notice the slight smile on his twin sister's face, but he chose not to mention it. It would just make her more angry. And an angry Rin is a very dangerous Rin. I kind of feel sorry for the kid. What do you mean, Uncle? As he put his finger under his chin in a thinking pose, how can I put this delicately? My sister, your mother, is quite the hard ass. And extremely strict. And of course, very mean. Brother, don't you dare put some strange ideas in my son's mind. Last thing I need for my son to get your bad habits. Do I need to proceed to dish out some punishment, my dear brother? Giving him a sweet smile. Yang waved his hands back and forth in a surrender fashion. I'm trying to avoid that sort of possibility at all costs, dear sister. Good. Just don't give my son any bad habits, or you'll find your head magically off your body. Because I heard some nasty disease going around. Just losing their heads out of nowhere. As she gave her brother a sweet but disturbing smile. Dream of it, sister. You better, or you might pick up that horrible disease. And if you would get sick, I don't know what I would do. Son, dear. Pick up the pace. You're falling behind. Yes, Mom. One of the white tigers spoke up to Yang. Sir, is your sister always like this? So intense? She kind of scares the shit out of me, and the rest of the boys agree. You don't know that half of it, boys. I had to live with her. Just you wait. With my sister on our side, the white tigers will definitely get things done. Hold on, everyone. We have incoming. Everyone get behind the trees. Basically dead trees, but they're still big enough for them to hide behind. After all the white tigers, Victor and Ren, his mother, all hid behind a large tree as a group of raiders came walking by. Yang slowly withdrew his 9mm pistol out of his holster until his sister stopped him by grabbing onto his wrist. As his sister whispered quietly to him, "Relax, brother. Let them pass. We don't know if they have a home base here on this island, or they're just passing through for any resources they can scavenge." Yang gave his sister a nod in acknowledgement, and put his pistol back in his holster. So did the rest of the white tigers. Raiders finally traveled far enough. Ren spoke up. You were always too eager for conflict. But if you endanger my son's safety because you want to do the whole gun-ho thing, that whole macho bullshit, I'll kill you. Just because you're my beloved twin brother doesn't mean you're safe from my wrath. Just keep that in mind. Or you might come up a case of that terrible disease. Who knows how people get affected? She's clearly not talking about any actual disease. She's talking about her chopping off his head. If it wasn't obvious already. Yang laughed nervously. He knows his sister won't actually kill him, being threatened by his sister. He's quite used to it. That's how she'd always been, growing up. She would always threaten him to kill him, for one reason or another. Relax, sister, but I suppose you're right. We don't have any information. He looked towards his nephew. He's clearly has an indifference expression on his face. A disturbing thought came to his mind. He's hoping his new nephew isn't being raised to be an exact copy of his mother, his sister Ren. The last thing anyone needs, or the world, is another version of his sister. Enough talk. We're burning daylight. Let's move. Sure thing, sis. So what's your plan? I need a safe location so I can prepare my sweet boy so he could continue his training. I originally was going to go back to another vault, but I no longer want to do that. Unlike the vault we came from, I highly doubt they know how to defend themselves properly outside of firearms. True that. I've met other vault dwellers from other vaults. They're quite naive, if you ask me. I would have to agree on you upon that, dear brother. The group proceeded to go deeper into the forest to keep off the roads, just in case more raiders crossed their path. When they finally got out of the clearing of the forest, they saw the whole dock area was in the middle of a large Raider camp. God damn it. They weren't there when I first arrived at the docks. Naturally, my motorboats are exactly right in the middle of that camp. They sure work fast. They're raiders. They're cockroaches. They tend to do that. And they're hard to kill. Completely. And I take it there's no other way. No, there's no other way. We just have to go through the raiders to do so. Let's go back for now, so we can come up with a strategy. I saw a large cabin back in the forest, not that far away from this location. Let's go, brother. After like 20 to 30 minutes of travel, they arrive at a large cabin in the middle of the woods without no trouble. Yang and a few of his white tigers enter the large cabin to clear it out. After a couple gunshots was heard, they came out of the large cabin and began to drag a few feral ghoul bodies and threw the bodies outside of the front door and windows. Yang and his white tigers begin to fortify the cabin as they begin to strategize a plan to recapture their transport off of this island. While the strategy is being discussed, Rin got her son's attention. Son, what's most likely going to happen is it's clearly going to be highly dangerous. So I'm going to have you remain here. I'll have your uncle leave one or two, maybe a couple, of his white tigers to guarantee your safety, while me and your idiot of an uncle take care of the raider problem. I want you to take this. As she pulled out one of her katanas, as she hand over the short katana to her son to use for protection in case he finds himself in a dangerous situation. The wasteland can be quite dangerous without a weapon. Mom, remember your training you've had so far. The wasteland is a dangerous and unforgiving place. If anything happens, use your knowledge to your advantage. The sword you have in your hand is just a tool, your most dangerous weapon you have. As she gently placed her finger on his forehead, is your mind. Remember that, son. Please think ahead. Don't act rashly without thinking. Don't be like my idiot brother, your uncle. Be calm and collected, like your dear old mother. If you do that, you will survive. I will, Mom, I promise. That's my boy. Listen to the white tigers that stays behind. I don't know how many that your uncle will have stationed here. Just be mindful of your surroundings and don't rush and think before you act, before you formulate a plan. Always remember, the most powerful tool at your disposal is your brain, your mind. It's important. That's why I'm bringing it up so much, my dear beloved son. Now, what's your most important weapon at your disposal, son? Mine, mother. Excellent response, my boy. Why don't you go explore the cabin while I talk business was your uncle. Victor gave his mother a nod in acknowledgement and went off to explore the large cabin. He's never been in a cabin before, so he's quite excited to explore. After all, he's still a kid. 11 years old, if I remember right. Anyways, let's continue forward and join her brother in the strategy meeting. So what's the plan, brother? I will be sending out scouts to scout out the raider camp from a safe distance. By first glance, they're very fortified around the dock when we saw their camp. We need to locate any weakness to enter the camp and strike accordingly. Good. Leave one or two of your white tigers here to look after my son. Shouldn't be a problem. What are you planning to do, sister? Join you, of course. These cockroaches, these raiders, are interfering in my plans to keep my son safe, so they need to be exterminated like the cockroaches they are. I'm questioning your capabilities, sister. It's just you haven't been on the field for quite for so long. Stop going to the field after you were appointed the guardian of the vault. Stop going onto the field after that. Ren narrowed her eyes at her brother. I might have not been active for a while, but that doesn't mean I let my skills go rusty, brother. I'm as vicious I am now that I was back then. I even became more vicious and devious since my son was born. I know how to deal with these raiders. Now, let's move on with our discussion, brother. Very well, sister. I know better to argue with you. I will be sending the scouts once the sun is down. We have some spare stealth boys they'll use during the recon. Stealth boys, you say? Those are not quite common around here. They're American tech. Came across them by pure accident. I managed to get a good price for them last time when I was at the weapon shop on the mainland in one of the cities. Alright, brother. I'm going to take a nap until nightfall. Wake me up when we're going to move out. Will do, sis. Ren was searching room to room in a large cabin. It didn't take her long to locate her son. He was practicing in one of the empty rooms, practicing with the short katana in his hands, trying to get a feel for a real sword. Sweetheart, your hands are too close together. Move your hands a little bit further apart on the handle of the katana. Your stance is a little too close. Spread your legs a little bit. And your arm needs to be down a little bit. And she lowered her son's arm down a little bit. So he's in the correct stance. Like this, mother? No more. Good. Now you have the correct stance. Move your right leg a little bit further. Your legs are not in the right position. Good. Now perform a sword swing. It's a real sword, so it's going to be a lot more heavier than your wooden ones back in the vault. Begin. One strike. Again. You throw out a second strike. Again. A third strike. This continued for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, watching her son practice his sword swings, she noticed his hand will most likely blister in a few days. So she took out some ointment and placed it over his hands to prevent blistering from forming on the palm of his hand. It won't prevent the blisters from showing up completely, but it'll lessen the blisters that he'll develop. It's going to take you some time to get used to the handle of a real katana. Your hand will form blisters until your calluses become more tougher. Remember, a katana is not a club, it's a sword for precise attacks. Even a katana can break if you apply enough pressure. Remember, the art of wielding a katana is for flash slashes, thrusts, and stabs. Understand completely, Mother. She took her son's hand. She took her son by the hand and led him out of the room. How are you holding up there? I know this has not been easy for you. I'm doing fine, Mom. It's fine if you're scared. It's a natural feeling. We're currently in a dangerous position. Victor was about to speak, but Ren placed her finger over his lips. Don't speak. Just listen. Things are not going to get any easier from now on. They're most likely going to get harder. You'll be forced to do a lot of things, even killing other people. It's a reality you're going to have to get used to while you're in the wasteland. The wasteland's not civil like the vaults. It's about survival. The strong thrive and the weak perish. It's just how things are in the wasteland. Don't worry. Your mother will prepare you. Ren cupped her son's face with her hands gently. Both her hands. Plan for you to just survive. I plan for you to thrive in this atmosphere. I'll guarantee it. After all, you're a Rosefield. We of the Rosefield family are born warriors and survivors. Remember this well, my son. We Rosefield are warriors. We've been so countless generations. Our family once stood at the peak of power, serving the emperor. But in time, our family's deeds faded away in history, like most things do. It's natural, the passage of time. But we Rosefields endure and survive. Enough about our family history. I think it's about time the world are reintroduced to the Rosefields. Now it's getting late. Let's go find your room so you get some sleep, young man. After finding a room that wasn't totally destroyed, it had a pretty solid bed, well, 2 beds in there. She begins to tuck in her son in one of the beds with the vault blanket. Ren proceeds to sit down and lean against the wall, with her sword resting in her hand. So she decided to get some sleep as well. Is a strong and very cold-hearted woman, but she's still a mother. And being in the wasteland, there are dangers everywhere, so it was only natural for her to keep close watch over her son. She might be sleeping, but the slightest hint of danger, she'll instantly wake up. Only reason that's even possible is because of her harsh and brutal training she put herself through. She even went through more brutal training when her son was born. She wanted to ensure his safety. She had to be strong in order to do so. Ren woke up after a few hours. She stood up to her feet and checked up on her son, who was sleeping peacefully. She slowly stepped out of the room and closed the door gently and made her way over towards her brother, who was still in process of dealing with all the finer details of the plan. Perfect timing, sis. I've already sent out the scout team. Good, brother. Victor's not much of a talker, is he? He talks when he needs to. My son, your nephew, he's a very serious boy. He's definitely your kid. And what do you mean by that, dear brother? Relax, I'm just saying. He has your sparkling personality. You know, it is very unwise to insult a woman with a very sharp katana in arm's reach of your neck. Who knows? You might catch that mysterious disease. Giving her brother a vicious grin. You're very fortunate you're my brother, or you would have already been dead. So, brother, what exactly is the plan? Rin said that in a fake, sweet smile, in a sweet tone that's clearly fake. Yang knows his sister very well. He knows better not to push his luck. In no means. He's no mean a pushover. Only person that could talk to him like this is his twin sister. Anyone else that tried, he would kill on the spot. Here's what I got so far, sis. Once the recon team comes back, we'll have a better idea how we're going to infiltrate that encampment. But what I have planned, once we make it inside, target several of the raiders' lookouts that they made in wooden guard towers they have built all around the harbor. And what I saw, they had a large wooden wall around the entire harbor. Of course, it's not very well made. I have no doubt there are gaps in their fortified wall. They're raiders, after all. They're not known for their intelligence. They're cockroaches. They don't think very hardly. We'll crush them. We need to eliminate every single one of them. They have to die. None of them can survive. I'm fully aware of that, sister. We can't have a raider group regroup and build their numbers up to openly attack the White Tigers. We've already have more enemies than we need. What do you mean, brother? The Red Lions are not the only people we've been fighting. They're just the most common ones we come across. There are several other raider factions on the mainland that's been causing us trouble. There's also other factions out there besides the Red Lions. Let's just say they're very hostile, not the friendly sort. We'll talk about that another day. We have to first deal with our current problem. Very well, brother. As much as I, as much as I, as much as I am interested in the status quo on the mainland, you are correct. We need to deal with this raider problem before we could talk about more important things. Despite how interested I am about what's going on the mainland, I need you to leave someone behind when we begin our assault on the raider camp. It will be done. I'll have at least 2 of my men stay behind to look after my nephew. I can't spare any more than that. That's quite all right. 2 should be enough. A few hours later, the scouts came back and gave their report to Yang. Ren did not speak to give her opinion. She just let her brother handle things from here. She's not their leader. He is. She has no problem allowing her brother to take control of the situation. To a point, after all. She has no authority over the White Tigers. She won't cross the line. Her brother might not believe it, but she doesn't like to have complete control, like she did in the vault. Later that night, Ren and Yang, alongside with his fellow White Tigers, only leaving 2 White Tigers at the cabin, make their way towards the raider camp. This is as far as we were. Sorry, let's try this again. This is as far we're going to go. As far as we're going to go. One of the White Tigers hand over a sniper rifle over to Yang. Yang looked at the sniper rifle and handed it over to his sister. I would do this myself, but you've always been a far more talented sharpshooter than me. You've always been good at long distance fire. Ren took the rifle and immediately climbed up the dead tree. Had a hunter post on top of the tree, giving her a good view of the raider camp. She lay down on her stomach and positioned herself with her sniper rifle. As she looked through the scope, her first target came in her line of sight. Ren gently squeezed the trigger slowly. The sniper rifle fired. This sniper rifle specifically had a silencer on the sniper rifle itself, so it reduces the sound. It doesn't completely get rid of the sound of the gunshot, because silencers just don't work that way. Raiders are too far away to even hear the sound. As one of the lookouts was hit, as one of the raiders fell down to the ground dead, giving Yang and the rest of the White Tigers a pathway into the encampment. Ren continued to kill raiders with the sniper rifle, one after another. Ren put the strap of the sniper rifle over her shoulder and jumped down and began to move locations, following the pathway of her brother when he entered the encampment. When she got inside, she decapitated one of the raiders with her katana. Ren began to make her way up one of the lookout towers and began to take aim with her sniper rifle and began to kill raider after raider once again. When she ran out of ammunition, she got down and from the tower and leaned the rifle against the wooden tower on the ground. She slowly withdrew her katana from her sheath. As she ran forward, going further into the bandit camp, eventually catching up with her brother. Meanwhile, Victor was sleeping peacefully in his bed while the two white tigers are in the living room playing playing cards they got from a trader. But bummer, we're stuck here with babysitting. It's not that bad. We get to relax for once. I suppose you're right, man. I got to say, that kid's strange. I would have to agree with you there. The kid's mother is, well, incredibly terrifying. No wonder the boss is scared of his sister. The front door of the cabin burst apart as a humongous white beetle came charging into the cabin. As it skid to a stop, when it noticed the nearest food source, that food source happens to be the two white tigers in the room. The white tigers immediately opened fire, only to see their bullets bounce off the hard shell-like armor of the exoskeleton of the beetle. Electric rad beetle begins to channel electricity around its large horn. Oh crap, it's an electric beetle. Take cover. A burst of wave of bioelectricity erupted from the horn off of the white beetle, covering a small area of the large living room of the cabin. As the electricity charred the wood floor and anything in a nearby area, completely electrifying a nearby table. Immediately afterwards, it caught fire. At the same time that the white tigers were being attacked in the living room, a smaller white electric beetle came flying through the window, crashing into one of the walls. As it managed to stand on its legs, it immediately charged forward at Victor. Victor managed to roll out of the way as the beetle smashed into a nearby wooden table, crushing it from the force that the white beetle made when it made contact. It might not be fully grown, but even the younger insects of this species is vastly more powerful than an average human. Because of how young the electric rad beetle is, it hasn't developed its bioelectricity that comes out of the hole of the top of the horn of the beetle. The electric rad beetle refocused his attention on Victor. Victor pulled out the katana out of his sheath that his mother gave him. When the rad beetle charged towards Victor, Victor stepped to the side and swung his sword in a slash. The katana made contact, as the katana made a large slash mark on the outer shell on the young beetle. The rad beetle hasn't fully developed its armor-like shell on their exoskeleton that hardens their body so they can survive gunshots. The only vulnerable area on the beetle is underneath. Only fleshy part that could easily be targeted. But Victor never covered a creature like this before in the vault in any of the classes that he took. Victor knows about typical mutated creatures like super mutant, rad roaches, and other mutated animals, and insects. But this beetle, he's never experienced in books before. And this is the first radiated creature that he's came across outside of feral ghouls. Seeing creatures is one thing, but actually facing one of them is a completely different story. The beetle screeches out in pain as a slash mark begins to bleed with white blood from the beetle oozing out of his wound. It immediately began to ram wildly in any direction, causing mass destruction, destroying several wooden furniture in the room. Victor's hands begins to tighten around the handle of his katana when Victor saw the mutated bug begin to charge towards his direction. After the insect totally destroyed the nearby furniture in the room, it charged forward. When the beetle was close enough, Victor hopped over its shell and slid on top of the beetle and jumped out of the broken window. He kneeled down and leaned underneath the window, of the edge of the window, waiting for the beetle to emerge to chase him. But what he's learned about normal beetles in his classes before the Great War, beetles always had a softer part in their body underneath, and Victor believes that probably wouldn't change even if they were mutated or not. He was right. The moment the beetle can be seen hovering over the edge of the window, Victor plunged his sword upwards, right through the soft underbelly of the electric rad beetle. Luckily for Victor, he managed to pierce a vital organ, killing the beetle instantly. As it fell out of the window and landed on his back, as the legs began to twitch and move around until the beetle stopped moving altogether. As it fell limp, as the electric rat beetle was dead on the spot. By this time, the white tiger that was fighting the adult electric rat beetle came running out of the front door of the cabin, and a humongous rad electric beetle wasn't too far behind. The white tiger stood in front of Victor, shielding him from any harm. The electric rad beetle flew out of the doorway of the cabin and began to hover down a little bit away from the white tigers and Victor's. The electric rad beetle started to emanate some sort of sound. When the white tigers figured out let me try this again. What the stupid insect was doing, it was already too late. Several more electric rad beetles appeared, approaching the cabin from the forest, surrounding the cabin in all different directions, as the white tigers and Victor could see different sizes of these electric rad beetles. Too large, too medium, and a couple small ones. Even some of the smaller ones were as big as a human child. That's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day, judging by time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.